Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is May 21st, 2025. And today is Wednesday morning. So looking at the markets just in general, really wavering off. But Bitcoin looks like it's inching higher and may break out. We're going to take a look at that in just a second. But first, looking at today, no major economic events scheduled. So looking at the markets, really wavering just in general. And that seems to be the general theme of the day. And so looking at the Forex symbols, the major pairs just wavering sideways. Looking at the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ just slightly lower. However, looking at commodities, natural gas gets a nice bounce, and looking at the stocks really reflecting the general markets, the big tech just wavering sideways and tapering lower. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, as mentioned, Bitcoin looking to tease us, and maybe we'll get a breakout. So let's take a look at the markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the GBP USD. Now, just a couple of things about this gets kind of interesting because we look like we were going to break out, and we almost did, okay, but we didn't hold ourselves above it, and it looks like a inverted hammer, okay, and that is a little bit disconcerting because it looks like we've kind of topped out, and now we're going to make a correctional move. That's how it looks like. I don't make this up. It's just the way the Japanese candle is set up. Okay, so you can see that quite clearly. The question is are we going to retrace or are we going to break out higher? Now, looking at it daily, you can see that, honestly speaking, it didn't break out higher, okay? It did break out into new highs, so to speak, but it didn't sustain it, didn't close at it. And that shows a little bit of weakness, even though it's on its highs, right? So keep that in mind as we look at the GBP USD. Now, looking at the Japanese yen, continue to retrace here, and finally playing catch up, okay, which is kind of interesting because they changed character there, and we are trading at 143 versus the US dollar. Now, jumping into commodities, this is where it gets interesting. Natural gas gets a nice bounce the other day from $3 to $3.36. That's a huge bounce for natural gas. And on one lot, you could have made like $1,500 to $1,800. Not that much, okay? On $600, you could triple it in natural gas. It's got more bang for the buck. And so when it moves, it moves. Now looking at the other commodities, gold, oil, just really unchanged here. Also a little bit of a spike, but then a correctional move in gold. Just a little bit of a breakout on the upside, okay? You could see that this morning as that picked up above 32.34 and above the 300-day moving average, 200-day moving average, and closing in at that 33.20. So showing some strength, and yes, we're still trading in a larger range. Upper range is 3,400, lower range is about 3,000, okay, 3,100. So that's where we are right now. Now, looking at the U.S. markets, they did taper off yesterday, the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones. You see that redness, just a little bit of a tapering off. Looking at Apple, we tapered off. Looking at Facebook, we tapered off just a little bit. Tesla also tapered off. Nothing to really iron home about, okay? This is all natural. We had a really decent rally or comeback since those April to May to March, lows of, President Trump coming out with those tariffs, and, the pieces are just falling back into each other. And that's just the reality of where we are. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, this is teasing us. It was trading at 107-ish level, and that is close to its record highs. And we could potentially, if we, kind of push this higher, okay, maybe it'll push higher. I'm not trying to root and give it like a woohoo, let's go. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to read the tape and just to understand what's going on here. Okay, so I'd like to see it close above 108 for me to have a little bit more conviction on the upside. However, remember, we are at resistance level, both here, both at GBP USD. These are really important elements where we are right now, and it's all converging at one time, and it doesn't happen in a nutshell. It happens all together, and we really have to keep an eye on this later today because it could potentially be a really great trade, either on the upside or the downside. So keep that in mind. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you a great trading day. Thank you.